Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today it's time to talk through my July TBR. July is shaping up to be an excellent month. I'm so excited. I have a pretty good variety of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror for this month. I have a lot of buddy reads. I also am participating in Summerween, so lots of things to look forward to. I am very excited to start this hot summer month. I'll first start with our podcast book. So if you are unfamiliar, Leandra and I from Leand with TBR 0, we have a podcast called Not Reading for Content. I'll have it linked in the description so you guys can check it out if you are interested. We did change our August book, and so because we're changing our August book, we had to change the book that we are reading together in July because we read the books a month in advance. And we have tried something different. For the first time in the podcast's history, we will be reading manga together. So we're going to read the first 3 volumes of Dinosaur Sanctuary, which is, I don't know much about it. I know it is a reread for Leandra, and I know that she dearly loves it. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds kind of cozy. You're following a person who works in a dinosaur sanctuary who, I don't know if she trains the dinosaurs or just takes care of them, but I'm looking forward to it. I have the first 4 volumes because they were all available at my library, so I was like, why not? We will be reading the first 3 volumes on the pod. Next, I have another 2 buddy reads with Leandra because that's just how we do. The first one is Shroud by Adrian Tchikovsky. I apologize if you guys can hear my neighbors are doing lawn work, but filming must go on. So Shroud by Adrian Tchikovsky is one that I've wanted to read. It is a new release this year, and it sounds like it's a sci-fi horror. There's a planet that is known to be inhospitable to humans, but somehow a spaceship and its crew end up on its surface, and these humans have to figure out how to survive. I think they have to trek across the planet in order to get someplace safe. I'm not exactly sure where. And this talks about an alien encounter and how when you look into the darkness looks back. So it sounds really creepy. I have enjoyed all of the Adrian Tchikovskys that I picked up so far, and so I'm looking forward to this one. The other buddy read that I have with Leandra is Anji Kills a King, and this is actually a buddy read with Leandra and my husband and myself. It's something that we like to do with our commute to work. My husband and I listen to audiobooks, and so sometimes he likes to join us for one of our reads, and this time we're going to be reading a book surrounding an assassin who, I believe it's a female assassin. She is originally a maid, I think, for the king, and somehow is put into the circumstance where she could kill the king, and she does. She takes advantage of the circumstances that she has, kills him, goes on the run, and a bounty hunter is chasing after her. I do think the description of this book is vastly different than the cover, just because I do think the cover is very pretty just because of the color scheme. I think that it's going to be fun though. I am excited about this one. Another buddy read that I have is actually a physical read, and it is a reread for me. I will be reading Ninth Reign with Kirsten from the Reading Nymph in July, and we're hoping to finish the series this year. I'm not sure if we're going to read a book a month or if we're going to, give ourselves a break every other month, or I don't know what we're going to do yet, but the 9th read is going to get read in July, and I can't wait to get back into this world. If you haven't ever heard of the Winnowing Flame series, the book is written by Jen Williams, and this world features some odd events that are happening. You have 3 main characters, a scientist who is exploring these odd events, her companion that she is traveling with, who is, I don't remember the race's name, but they're kind of like an elven race. They live a very, very long time, but they have a sordid history with humans that has led to the demise of most of their race. And so we follow his character as well, and then you follow a fell witch who starts the book in prison. And these 3 characters come together to try and figure out what's going on with the world, try to discover some of the past that has depleted with the extinction of the elven race, because they hold a lot of the world's history, things that have happened in the past that have been very catastrophic. They know how to handle it, or knew how to handle it, because they had lived through it. They don't have those resources anymore because most of that race doesn't exist anymore, and so they have to figure out what's happening without having that prior knowledge. I loved this the first time I read it. This is my favorite from the series so far. I've only read the first and the second books, but I do think that this one was my favorite. but I can't wait to get into this with Kirsten and to be able to finish the series because it's been on my shelves forever. The last buddy read that I have is one that I'm hoping is in July, but it could be in August. I might have the date wrong, so let me know, Rod. Are we reading The City of Miracles in July? I can't remember if we said July or August, and I tried to look back at the comments and I couldn't figure out what video we talked about it in. So I'm putting this on my July TBR just in case, but I'm okay if we want to wait and hold off if you can't get a hold of it. But I am reading this with Rod from RD's library, and I am really excited for this culminating event to the Divine Cities trilogy. This is a fantasy mystery trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett that features a city. There are a whole bunch of different locations so each book so far, the first book and the second book, has been in different locations, but they surround the divinities of Bulakov, which is a city that used to be in power and has since been conquered by the surrounding nations because of the lack of their divinities. And you learn about the powers that these divinities held, what kind of facet they had. The City of Blades, which was my favorite, was featuring the goddess of death, which I found very, very fascinating. So I'm curious to know what the City of Miracles is going to hold for us. But each of the books has been had a mystery component as well. The first one, we had a murder of a debutante, and the conquering nation came in to explore what happened to this particular person. Whereas in the City of Blades, you had a missing person and they were trying to figure out what happened to that individual as well. That person was also involved in the government. So I'm curious to see who's going to die, what's the mystery going to be in the City of Miracles, and how do we wrap up this just massive series, massive world that Robert Jackson Bennett has created. I do just also want to throw out into the universe that if I did happen to have a buddy read with you and we were supposed to read it in July and I have forgotten, please let me know. I have this bad feeling that I have forgotten something, that I didn't write something down, or that I know that I had some buddy reads written down at some point in time and I lost the post-it note that I had that in. So if that's you, please let me know. The next little chunk of books that I have for you guys is my Summerween TBR. I'm really excited to participate this year because I haven't been in my horror era, I guess, this year. I haven't been gravitating to my spooky reads, and I would like to give some of them a try. So the first prompt is to read a book in the dark. So I'm not going to set a book for that particular prompt. I'm just going to use one of the other books on my list. The second one is to read a horror or a thriller, and I'm going to throw Monsters and Mainframes onto this because this is sci-fi horror. I talked about this in my summer TBR. It features a sentient spaceship who is traveling or shuttling people from one planet to the other and realizes that her passengers are being murdered, and she thinks they're being murdered by Dracula and she plots her revenge, which I just think sounds really fun and I can't wait to read it. The next prompt was a book that had sky on the cover, and for this I'm going to choose Cinders and Sparrows. This is a middle grade I've been wanting to get to, featuring an orphan girl who gets a letter stating that she has inherited this haunted mansion. And I shouldn't call it a haunted mansion, but it's a mansion that has some bad things that have happened. Every witch that has owned it since then has died early, and so she doesn't realize what she's getting into when she does inherit this estate, and we follow her. There's also a scarecrow that gives her the letter, which I'm intrigued by. So I think it sounds really cute, kind of spooky, and I'm glad to put a middle grade on this list so I have a little bit of a breakup of, you know, a less serious horror book than some of the others on my list. The next one also isn't a very serious, scary book, but I wanted to read it. This is, the prompt originally says a book that you've owned for more than a year. Because I don't own, or I don't have a ton of physical TBR on my shelves, I changed this to saying a book that's been on my TBR for more than a year, and so I put Strange Practice on this. This was also on my summer TBR. This is following Greta Helsing, who is a doctor for supernatural beings, and I think she's, I don't know if she also does autopsies or if it's just doctor, like just being a medical doctor for them, but there are some murders that start happening within the supernatural community, and she has to figure out what's going on, potentially save her practice and her life. So I have wanted to read this for a really, really long time, and I'm excited to have a reason to. The last prompt for Summerween is to read a novella, and I chose Green Fuse Burning for this one. This has been on my TBR for a really long time as well. It was a little hard to get a hold of, but my library does finally have one copy. They have an ebook, and this is about a girl who is an artist. I'm not sure how old she is, but she is an artist. She's struggling with, I think, the death of her stepfather and the loss of a lot of questions that she had, and that she was going to get answers from her father, and now obviously she can't. And her girlfriend ends up getting her, or putting a ticket in for her to go to this art resort. So when the artist goes to the art resort, some things start happening that lead her to believe that she might not be safe. So I'm excited to read this little tiny book that I've heard really great things about. And then a few more just kind of miscellaneous reads that I have on my list. One of them is Ministry of Time. I wanted to read this for a little bit now, but this is on, I think, the Hugo shortlist for like the nominations for the Hugos, and I would like to read it just to figure it out whether or not this is for me. I think this is YA, which is why I've been holding off on it a bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I might not be accurate on that, but for some reason it gives me YA vibes. You are following a company, I think, that is doing some research on time travel and whether or not the human psyche can handle time travel, and they have different people that they are experimenting with that come from the past and are implanted in the near future to where we are, and we get to see them live through that. I think the person that we're following ends up being the roommate of these individuals who have come from the past. I've heard that it's fun, and a lot of people praised it last year, so I really want to get to this one. Next is a physical TBR book that I have been putting off forever because I haven't had a physical copy, and that is Ruin by John Gwynne. This is the third book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I mean, I want to get back into the chunky reads on my shelves. This is a series I have dearly loved where, I mean, it's such a complex book or series. I can't really explain what it's about, but you do have two different characters that you follow. You have a kind of shepherd boy who is the son of a blacksmith who definitely has some things that indicate he might be more important to the kingdom at large. And then you have the son of a king who is preparing for war, and you follow these two individuals with a whole bunch of other characters as well within this kingdom. I've really enjoyed this. I love immersive reading it. The reason I would recommend immersive reading this series is because of how many characters there are. I like the individuality of all of these characters that John Gwynne creates. I think it's very fascinating how someone can create such a cast of characters and make you really see like each of them as an individual person and really feel for them when certain things happen. So I'm excited to get back to this. Lastly is another book I put on my summer TBR, but I just received word that I do get to keep it for a little bit longer. I didn't think I was gonna get to keep it for the month of July, but I am, and that is Dungeon Crawler Carl. I can't wait to get to this. Since I put that on my summer TBR, so many people have hyped this book up to me, and I can't wait. You are following an apocalypse that happens, and the aliens that I think are the cause of the apocalypse decide to make it into a game show. Carl, you are following, and he has a cat companion that I think is his ex-girlfriend, if I remember correctly. And I asked on the last video, or I just phrased the question of, I don't know if the cat is one of the main characters, and I have been assured that she is a main part of the cast, and so I am very excited about that. I think it's going to be a fun time. I really hope that it's my type of humor because I've heard nothing but good things. So that is my July TBR. I have a lot of like really chunky reads because these are just the ones that I have physically. This is not even including all of the other books that I have on my TBR, but I'm very excited to get to it. I think that this is going to be an excellent reading month. Let me know what you guys are reading in the month of July. What are you excited about? I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below. If you are not feeling chatty, but you still want to let me know that you are here, leave me a little skull emoji. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's some skulls on the side of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I would love to see all the little skulls in the comments just to let me know that you're with me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!